I want to talk to the woman who just does not have the desire to feel busy all the time and how strange that can feel at times, especially if you're the type of woman that's used to doing things, being productive, getting things done, always in motion, and you just don't have that desire anymore. And today's Saturday, so I thought today would be like the perfect day to have a conversation around this because I know a lot of ambitious, driven, capable, responsible women. Busy can become a default. And I see that in women who are around me that I'm closely connected with or that I'm just maybe casually connected with, and how their weekends can be just full. Their time is always accounted for, and there's just always something to do because I also feel like when you're working in your corporate 9 to 5 or you're working in your business, it's almost expected for your weekday schedule to be busy per se. That's almost like a given or it's expected. But on the weekends, it's traditionally thought of like that's the time where you relax, where you wind down, where you do the things that you want to do. But when you're ambitious, even the weekends can be full. And I see it. I have my best friend. Girl, if you're watching this, I'm talking about you. My best friend is one of those people who is just a very active social person. She's an extrovert by definition. She is involved in a lot of community events. She volunteers for a lot of things. She's very active in her church. She's always invited to like social events and social gatherings. I mean, she's just like popular throughout town. And I was like, it's to the point where I told her a few years ago, I was like, girl, one day at some point in time, like you need to run for like city council or something like that, just because like how involved she is. Like sometimes when she tells me like, girl, I'm doing this and this weekend, I get tired. Like, cause she is always active. But again, she's an extrovert. So she gets like recharged or refueled by social interactions, social engagements, and being able to provide her time, especially to community events and things like that, that really fills her up. When she needs to take time to rest, she does take time to rest. But I was just using that as an example because I know someone who is this like very busy person, but there's women out there who have that life and they just don't want to feel that way anymore. So when that desire starts to shift, it can feel very unfamiliar. Now, I'm an introvert by the definition. Look up the word introvert in my name. My picture is going to be there with my short blonde hair. You hear me? So I have never really been a pack my weekends kind of girl, but I was busy in the sense of like my corporate career because when in my corporate leadership career, the career that I shared that I burnt out from, was 60 pounds overweight, taking two types of anxiety medications, all of the things. I would technically have to work weekends because as the manager as the leader, as the person in charge of this facility, the facility that I ran was open on the weekends. So that means if something went wrong, a patient issue popped up, anything like that, they were calling me. So I was working on and they called. The weekends weren't as, crazy as far as patient volume and things like that or issues happening as it would be, Monday through Friday when I was actually in the office. But on the weekends, I still had to be available again if something went wrong at the facility, and they needed me to act on something. My team needed me to act on something, or they needed my guidance on something, or my recommendation on something. So they would definitely call me. So again, as I shared in other videos, that was another reason too why the burnout was so intense for me, because like I said before, even when I wasn't working, I was still working. Even when I wasn't there, I was still there. And the lines between like my home life and my work life were so like blurred. And then the misalignment, the stress, just like all of the things that led me to burnout. But I will say, even so, that was then, and me working the weekends, and me being busy during the week, but not so much on the weekends, but still having to work. So, like I said, today, Saturday, I thought it would be a good opportunity to talk about this, on a Saturday. Now, I still work on the weekends because I work on my business during the weekends, but things feel very different now. Very, very different. For one thing, me working in my business or on my business or working on client work or whatever I do on the weekends, it just feels different in my body. So it doesn't feel, even though I'm working, I don't feel like I felt before. Most of all, I can control when I work, when I do the work, what type of work I'm doing, things like that on the weekend. Also now, even though I still work on the weekends, technically, I still make time for the things that I want to do. I am a rested woman. I've said that in other videos. So it don't just take the weekend. I prioritize rest 365, 7 days a week. So it's not about the weekend coming for me to rest. But when the weekend does come, I still make time to hang out with my friends and go to lunch and go to brunch and go to markets. I have a girlfriend who really likes to go to markets. So we've been exploring like markets around town, especially with it being spring and the weather is beautiful before it gets like too unbearably hot here in Florida. But spending time with friends on the weekend, doing my morning beach walks, still doing that on the weekends, going to the hair salon. My appointments used to be on Wednesdays for the hair salon. Now they're on Saturdays. So making time for that. If I just want to lounge around the house, I make time for that. I'm really not a TV person, but if there's a show that I'm watching, most of the time I'll catch up on it on the weekends, because I now that I think about it, I rarely watch TV during the week. I might watch like a visual podcast on YouTube on the TV, but I don't really watch TV during the week. So if there's any TV shows that I'm watching, I'll catch up on the weekends. And of course so I also on the weekends I make a weekly batch of homemade granola. So I actually have it on now. And I always make time for that on the weekend to make my homemade batch of granola for the week. So I normally have like just non-dairy yogurt with organic blueberries and my homemade granola for breakfast. So making my batch of granola for the weekend. So while I still work technically on the weekends, I also make space for my life, because again, I'm in a season of where I am building and designing the type of work and life that I desire. And that continues to grow and that continues to evolve. I've been doing this living this type of life for 3 years now, and it just only continues to get better. And I think that, and I think that's what I've come to understand too, that it's not about not working. It's not about not working. It's about making sure that your life is structured around your work and the things that you desire. again, we're talking about the weekends, but this can apply to your Monday through Friday schedule as well. Like just ensuring that while you're working, that you're still living and not getting sucked into that corporate brain rot that I've been talking about all this week, of where you're not checking in with yourself anymore and you're just going through autopilot because technically you're doing well in your career, but you haven't checked in with yourself to see if that's still the life that you want to live. And I'm looking at my notes because I was going to tell another story. See, that's why I have to have these notes, girl, because I'll get the talking and then get off track. But what I'm doing now actually supports the life that I'm building instead of taking away from it. Again, I'm doing all the things that I desire that prioritize my health, my wellness, doing the type of work that I do, and building the business that I desire to ultimately transition into full time at some point. And that's because, like, again, I talked about in a video this earlier this week about just using my 9 to 5 as a strategic asset and only looking at it like that, like my job isn't my life, but just ultimately we only have one life. So we have to make sure that we're doing what we desire and living in a way that is aligned for us, that feels good for us, that is prioritizing the things that we want to do. So if you're in a place right now where you don't feel like you want to be busy all the time, which I'm hearing chitter chatter about this, like just in other online environments, that doesn't mean that you're wrong for doing that or you're wrong for feeling that. It just means that you might be shifting. You desire something different, and that's okay. As we continue to grow and evolve, our needs change, our desires change, how we want to work and live changes. And I think that's important that you're having that feeling, and I think it's time for you to start paying attention to it. And the question can become for you, what do I actually want my time to feel like right now? Do you want to be busy all the time? And I do think that for many women, if we're honest with ourselves, that constant busyness can be a shield or a covering or trying to hide something underneath that we really don't want to see. So we just stay busy all the time to not sit with ourselves. So that might be something as well. And not only should you ask yourself what you want your time to feel like right now, but are you giving yourself the space to actually experience that? And if you're not, then how are you going to take small steps to start doing some of the things that you want to do? Start prioritizing yourself more. Start not being so busy and really just looking at what's underneath the busy. If anything, it might not be, but this is for my girls who are always busy and they're just coming into a season where they're feeling like they don't want to be busy all the time. If any of this resonated with you, let me know down in the comments. Today is Saturday. Let me know what you're doing today. Did you work today? Did you go to a market today? Were you at the hair salon or the nail salon today? Or did you just relax today? If you've missed any of the other conversations I'm having on this 100-day journey, I've linked that down in the description box. And I'm Erica Prevail. I share daily conversations helping ambitious women rework their relationship with ambition, capacity, rest, and creativity. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye.